Hi, boys and girls. Today we'll be learning about haiku poems. Our goals for today's lesson are to understand what makes a poem a haiku poem, be able to read and interpret a haiku poem, and be able to write our own haiku poems. Haiku poems, first in the spring of 1686 here, you have Matuso Basho, that's how I can best pronounce it, wrote one of the world's best known poems here. Old pond, frog jumps in, sound of water. This was a haiku, a short Japanese poem that presents the world objectively and contrasts two different images. A haiku is one of the oldest forms of poetry in the world, and it's undergone lots of change and revolution over the centuries, and in the last 100 years has expanded into hundreds of other languages. So what is a haiku poem? Well, the definition of a haiku in English is usually something similar to this: a poem that has 3 lines with a 5-7-5 syllable pattern. So let's take a closer look at two things. One, the rules of a haiku poem, and then I'll take a closer look at the qualities of a haiku poem with you. Rules are what a poem needs to be considered a haiku poem. But as with all forms of art, these rules can be bent and sometimes broken for artistic effect. Qualities are what separate a good haiku from a bad haiku. Let's begin by looking at the first feature, rules. Rules of a haiku poem. There are 3 basic rules for writing a haiku poem. 1, the 5-7-5 syllable structure. 2, seasonal elements. 3, a cutting word. Each has its own important place in the autonomy of a haiku poem. The 5-7-5 structure is definitely the most well-known characteristic or rule of a haiku. It's also the one that's broken the most. Okay, and actually the scholar here mentioned, Harold Gold Henderson, estimates that about 1 in 20 classical haiku actually break that 5-7-5 syllable rule. Now, most English speakers learn that the structure refers to syllables. When we say 5, we're talking about 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables then in the third line. So let's first pause for a second and review what a syllable is. A syllable is the sound of a vowel, A, E, I, O, U, that is created when pronouncing the letters A, E, I, O, U, or Y. The letter Y is a vowel only if it creates an A, E, I, O, or U sound, examples being fry, try, cry, and dry. The number of times that you hear the sound of a vowel is the number of syllables in a word. 2 or more vowels are next to each other. The number of syllables depends on the number of vowel sounds. Examples: free, 1 syllable, eat, 1 syllable, and buy, O, being 2 syllables. If a vowel is silent, it is not counted as a syllable. Example being fire, 1 syllable. Even though I see that there's 2 vowels, I and E, since the E is silent, it's not counted as a syllable, meaning fire is 1 syllable. How many syllables? So let's practice before we look at syllables in a haiku poem. In the word chicken, I have 2 syllables. I can see the I and the E, 2 vowels. That can help me know that there's 2 syllables. I can see it written in terms of broken down into syllables right here. Chicken, pronounced chicken. Then we have the word worrying, where we have Y acting as a vowel since it's making that E sound. So we have the O, the Y, and the I. You have 3 vowels there, so you have 3 syllables. Worry, E, you hear it making that E sound there. Ing, 3 syllables, worrying. Remember, the syllables are counting. When we talk about this first 2 lines here, we're talking about that syllables are really by English syllable standards and not in the English translation. So the English concept of syllables doesn't exist the same way in Japanese, which a lot of haiku poems were first written in Japanese and then translated into English. And that's why sometimes it can be a little messy. By Japanese standards, this is perfectly straightforward, well-structured haiku, but from the English syllable perspective, it's not. And that was referring to that first poem on the first slide. There's a rule, so saying haiku is a 5-7-5 syllable structure just isn't always true. That's what I want you to take out of this slide here. The rule is often broken in English and in Japanese, and here's an example of one of his most famous haikus. On a withered branch, a crow was stopped, autumn evening. And this poem was the first of Basho's new style, and it's a 5-9-5, and even he broke the rule. However, I still count this as a rule, and it should be, not simply a quality of haiku, because it is obeyed most of the time. And when it's broken, it's usually only broken for artistic effect, not because of incompetence. Boys and girls, what I'm saying here is that, yes, well, you might come across examples, or you might come across examples of haiku poems that don't follow the 5-7-5 syllable structure. But it's done for artistic effect, not because someone didn't know how to count the syllables or they just weren't sure. So when you're writing your haiku poems, you really should try to stick to that 5-7-5 syllable structure. Haikus, another rule here is that they're normally about seasonal elements. Haikus are often considered nature poems. Look at any classical haiku and you'll see some kind of natural imagery, like wildlife or weather. This is more formal than something like a sonnet. A sonnet should be about love, but isn't always. Haikus have specific words you have to use. And this was something I just learned recently. They are called kigo, or seasonal words. In our bashu example from the beginning, the kigo is the frog, which represents spring. Some kigu may seem more obvious than others, but they are all rooted deeply in Japanese culture. Another important mechanic of kigu is that they can be modified or changed sometimes. For example, Tsuki, the moon, is normally an autumn kigu, so normally something that represents autumn. But in this Kikaku's poem, Kikaku, best I can say it there, guys, the dragonflies cease their mad flight and the crescent moon rises. And in this case, you can see that moon isn't really referring to autumn, okay? But it's talking about the rising of the moon in regards to the dragonflies. So sometimes, like we said, it might be different than what the Japanese kigu meaning is. When it comes to rules, those would be all the rules that someone writing haikus must be at least aware of or conscious of. But like I said, not all haiku have to follow them, and when they don't, it's always a purposeful decision. But there's more to haiku than just following rules. Good haiku are thought to be made up of qualities, and we'll be going over those next. These short poetic compositions aren't meant to rhyme, so that's one thing to note, they don't rhyme usually, and are even a complete sentence necessarily. They rarely use any words that aren't completely necessary. They don't puzzle too hard over creating, or they don't try too hard about creating a working sentence or using proper grammar. Haikus do convey emotion, reaction, beauty. They channel everything you feel in a moment of tranquil observation, peaceful observation, and deliver that to your reader. Those qualities are blurring of a subject and object and genuine feeling. When it comes to a blurring of subject and object, haiku has one line where it's talking about the subject, the thing that's doing something, and the object, the thing being done to. Haiku deals mostly with visuals, but it tells little, so the reader has to take an active role and almost become the subject and object to truly understand it. The reader isn't just the object acted upon by the poem, but also the subject creating the feeling felt by the poet. For example, in this haiku here, old, dark, sleepy pool, that would be the object, the thing being done to, like a pool of water. And then the second line says, quick, unexpected frog. Third line, goes plop, water splash. That second line, quick, unexpected frog, would be the subject. It's the thing doing something, right? It's jumping or plopping into that pool of water. And that object, the thing it's being done to, is that pool of water. Genuine feeling. When it comes to the quality of genuine feeling, a haiku is intended to record a genuine and spiritual feeling rather than show off. In the Japanese tradition, they were often created around tiny observations in the natural world. Poets would sit together in a tranquil or peaceful and beautiful natural environment and pick a specific detail or a moment to expand on. The short, simple format of the poem lends itself well to channeling the beauty in an alluring moment. Nowhere to Go, The Dwellings of Ants in the Summer Rain by Gaudi. In this haiku, we can't help but feel for the ants as the rain pours in. Gaudi must have felt this too, and he transmits or sends those feelings to us, the readers, indirectly through the images. When it comes to the next part of the lesson, which is interpreting as a reader, how to interpret a haiku poem, let's look at some examples to see what we might expect from each season about a poem, since some tend to be about seasons. And let's look at interpreting this one about spring. Weaving back and forth through the lines of wheat, a butterfly, written by Sora. Spring is the season of new beginnings. The new year has passed and plants and animals awaken to fill the world with noise, color, and smells. These days are still hazy, especially in early spring, but we haven't yet hit the oppressive summer heat. Many spring haiku poems will treat this time of spring with lightness, joy, and comfort. And in Sora's haiku here, the idea of farming, the weaving back and forth of farming of wheat, is mirroring or comparing it to the movement of a butterfly flying through the wheat plants as both beginning life anew. A butterfly is starting its new life, and you think about the farming and the wheat growing, that's the start of new life there, of a new plant. So they're comparing two different things to show the idea of new life beginning, which is very representative of the season of spring. Your turn. Listen as I read this poem, this haiku poem, and then click pause and jot down what you think the poem is describing. Think about, what do you notice? What do you notice in terms of the syllables? That would be maybe the first thing to take a look at. What do you notice in terms of what is being described? What is the object? What is the subject? What kinds of feelings do you get from this? Remember, to, as a reader, you might need to actually try and become the subject and then the object to truly understand the poem. This haiku example here goes, "A peaceful evening, sparrows singing together with pretty feathers," written by Demi. Right now, pause and jot down what you notice about the poem in terms of its syllables in the first line, second line, third line, what is being described, what descriptive words or phrases give you a feeling, what feeling is it, and why. And then you may hit play to continue with the lesson. Okay, thank you for trying to interpret that one on your own. When it comes to our next final part of the lesson here, we want to look at how to write a haiku poem. The structure of a traditional haiku is always the same, including the following features. 1, there are only 3 lines, totaling 17 syllables. The first line is 5 syllables, the second line is 7 syllables, and the third line is 5 syllables, just like the first. Punctuation, capitalization are up to the poet and need not to follow rigid rules. A haiku does not have to rhyme. In fact, usually it does not rhyme at all. And it can include the repetition of words or sounds. Step 1, create a list of possible subjects that you might write about. Consider all different aspects of nature that inspire you. Consider traditional subjects like animals, nature, and seasons, or something completely different. Even the smallest details can make for a great haiku. Step 2, after you choose a subject, you may want to look at a few pictures of it, or go outside and admire it. Like all of the great poets before you, some of the greatest inspiration comes from simply admiring nature and the world around them. Step 3, make a list of words that relate to the subject you have chosen. Be as descriptive as possible. Think about feelings and emotions too. Step 4, the last line is usually used to make an observation about your subject. It can be fun to add a surprise here. Looking through the list you wrote, can you create an unexpected relationship between the first 2 lines and the third? As you start to write about the subject you have chosen, keep in mind that 5, 7, 5, that's an error there. Friends, I apologize. 5, 7, 5 syllable rule. If you have trouble determining the syllables in a word because you're not sure how to pronounce it, you could always look it up on yourdictionary.com for a count of the syllables. Haiku. Now let's try writing one together. Create a list of subjects. Spring flowers, blooming, summer sunset, windy March days, April rain showers are just a few I thought of. After you choose a subject, I went and searched for pictures. You can see the pictures I found there. And then I chose flowers blooming. You can see I circled that picture. Third step, make a list of words that relate to the subject. Flowers, petals, springing up, dirt, soil, opening up, bright colors appearing, brown dirt, now full of life. Those are all words that relate to the subject of flowers blooming in spring that I thought of. Step 4, the last line is usually used to make an observation about your subject. Well, when I observed flowers blooming, I thought of the brown dead-looking soil now being full of life. So then I started to write one down, and in this picture, I saw daffodils. So I wrote daffodils emerge, and I thought about the syllables. Daffodils, 3, emerge, 2 syllables, because that E on the end is silent. So I'm good. I have 5 syllables in that first line. Yellow petals open. Yellow petals open. 5 syllables. So friends, I did make one error when writing this. We all make mistakes. I need to switch my lines. I actually meant for that second line, or that what you saw as the third line, to be my second line. Because this is daffodils emerge, that would be 5, and then I need to have 7 syllables. That 5, 7, 5 pattern. Dead soil now full of life. And you notice here when I took that observation, it actually had more than 7 syllables up here. And so I changed it so that it would have 7 syllables, not more than 7, and it still conveys the same idea. You can see dead soil now full of life. My last line, yellow petals open, 5 syllables. Your turn. Follow the steps we just went over and try writing your own haiku poems.